Hi, this is Anthony. Welcome back to my show. If you're a subscriber to my channel, you know that I cover a wide range of topics from personal finance and stock investing to unsolved mysteries and looking at what I find to be interesting pieces of historical trivia. I sell collectible historical items on eBay, small items such as coins, banknotes, old stock and bond certificates, and postal items, as well as books. Sometimes I look at those type of things on my videos. This is the second Ask Me Anything video that I've done, although I've done a number of similar ones dealing with specifically the D.B. Cooper skyjacking case. So let's jump right into today's episode. One of my great loves since I was young is heraldry, or the study of coats of arms. I've done a number of videos incorporating aristocratic and other family arms from various European countries, and some of these videos I show arms while classical music is being played. If you like that type of music, it wouldn't hurt to just let the videos run on your computer as you enjoy the music. This helps me out in getting enough view hours. Anyway, here's a question from a viewer asking about a book that has all coat of arms in it. Unfortunately, there is no one book, and if someone tried to compile one, it would probably be the size of a set of Encyclopedia Britannicas. However, there are many online sources that have lists and often illustrations of arms from specific countries or more ambitious attempts at more comprehensive listings. One of them was produced by a man named Jean-Baptiste Rietstap, who was a Dutch genealogist, who created a book containing 110,000 descriptions of arms. These were written out in a special terminology used in heraldry called blazonry, which describes in technical terms what a shield should contain. Later publishers created supplements where the arms were illustrated with line drawings. There's probably a number of online sources, but here is one of them that is not yet complete as far as the illustrations, but some of them can be found in this resource. I'll try to have a link to this page in the show notes, but you can use the information here to follow along. Remember, just because you have the same family name as somebody who has a particular coat of arms attributed to, that doesn't mean that you're entitled to those. And different countries have different rules regarding the use of arms. However, if you do have European ancestry, your family name may not have a particular coat of arms that has been granted or adopted. That is your father's 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 side, but it's likely that some of your ancestors at some point probably had legitimate coat of arms that they used, and it's a very interesting area of study. So again, thank you very much for your question, and anybody interested, please do look at my other videos on heraldry. Next, let's turn to the case of D.B. Cooper. Most Cooper questions and comments I put in videos that are specific to that case, but I like to answer related questions in these broader category videos. Here the writer first starts out talking about the Marvel series Loki, where in one episode Loki is D.B. Cooper. But later the writer touches upon an important point about identification. Some people are great at recognizing people, other people are not. Some people are great at giving the details on how a person looks. Quite frankly, I would be terrible at that. If I had to describe my parents, who are both alive, to a police sketch artist to make a missing persons poster, I would probably do a terrible job. And in the case of D.B. Cooper's skyjacking case, there was a particular picture initially created which witnesses pretty much agreed did not look like the suspect. And then later on, some further sketches were made which the public still encounters. If you pay much attention to the case, there are so many credible candidates who have parachuting backgrounds, who have some motive and means to have carried out the skyjacking, and many of them look like the man in the sketch artist rendering. But then again, it's a rendering of a fairly medium-build middle-aged man with thinning hair, which described a lot of middle-aged men in 1971. But let's do a thought experiment unrelated to the Cooper case, although it may shine some light on things. Here's a picture of Tom Hanks on the left and Bill Murray on the right. I think most Americans over a certain age and many people outside this country recognize them and agree that's Tom Hanks on the left and Bill Murray on the right. Let's take a look at another picture. Who is this? Look at it carefully, and then I'll show you the previous picture. It's obvious that it's Tom Hanks, right? Except that it's not. It's really a picture of Bill Murray. Now, of course, I'm not the one that came up with this. This was buzzing around the internet a while back, but it shows that when we're dealing with fairly clear pictures taken recently of two extremely famous living men, there can be a lot of disagreement on who the man in the picture is. And you can play this game with a lot of different people. Here's a picture of John Steinbeck and one of Vincent Price. So one can imagine the difficulty in trying to narrow down who D.B. Cooper might have been, based on perhaps the shaky memories of a few witnesses who contributed to moderately different-looking sketches well over 50 years ago. Again, if you have any interest in the D.B. Cooper case, I have probably 50 or more videos that I've done on various aspects of the case, so please check those out. Here's a comment from Jason, who is a great commenter on many of my D.B. Cooper videos. I started doing some short videos. Those are the 60 seconds or less ones that are treated differently than other videos on YouTube. On many of those, I did short reviews of TV series or movies, or sometimes ask viewers' opinions on Meghan Markle or other cultural topics. And I do find cultural and social issues interesting and worthy of discussion, but I do struggle with some of it as far as what to put on YouTube. Let me give you a little background on why I created this channel. Originally, I was going to talk about side hustles and ways to legitimately make a little extra money. For instance, I sell things on eBay, as I mentioned, and it's a way to make a little extra money. I think that most people in the world could benefit from having a little more money in their lives. And while I agree that money will not solve your problems, having a lack of money usually compounds your problems. So, if I could do something, if I could show people certain ways to make money, not from speculating in cryptocurrencies or anything like that, but legitimate ways to make a little extra money, then I think maybe the world will be a little bit better place. For more background on myself, I've been extremely involved in my community and local government, not as an elected official, but as an appointed person to a number of committees over the years. Various budget committees, the County Planning Commission, the County Civil Service Commission. I'm still on the Board of Property Tax Appeals, and many, many other governmental and nonprofit boards. And I have both a bachelor's and a master's degree in political science, where a lot of my focus was on economic reform in Russia and Eastern Europe. Besides studying at the University of Oregon, I've also been able to study in Micronesia and in Hungary. And after my master's, I worked in Russia on 2 occasions. So I see a lot of value in the community and engaging discussion about local, national, and international topics. However, no matter what the discussion is, it can get very toxic very fast. The last 2 presidential administrations have been a time of virulent debate, but you have to remember that people argue about the presidency in every administration, and we always think that things are getting really bad now when they used to be okay in the past. But when you study history, you see that people always think that things have gotten worse than they've ever been. But that's usually not the case. Sometimes it is. 1930s and 40s Germany was probably much worse than 1920s Germany. And while I would love to talk about my thoughts about what's going on in the world and share my experience and interpretations and understanding of things that may be going on in Ukraine or North Korea or the People's Republic of China, I hesitate to do so. For one, countries involved can monitor what's being said about them, and I don't want their troll farms to attack me or impact any future travel to countries that I may critique or criticize. And there's plenty of other YouTube channels and legitimate resources on the internet to find out about issues going on in those countries if you're really interested. So I don't really need to cover them. Likewise, I could talk about Trump or Biden all day long, but what will that accomplish? Will I change anyone's mind? No. Will I just attract toxic comments, whether for or against what I've said, from supporters or opponents of one or the other of these presidents? Yes, I think so. So as I see it, I'm not really contributing anything constructive to the debate. I'm not moving the needle in a positive direction. I'm just creating more opportunity for online toxicity. That doesn't mean that at some point I won't create the type of video where I might discuss something controversial, but at this point I want to stay away from such topics. So too is it with debates on whether God exists or things along those lines. There are innumerable videos where people present their ideas on this topic, including some where opposing viewpoints are debated. I encourage anyone who is interested in such a debate to seek those out. But I don't want to turn my channel into that particular type of channel, at least not at this point. Again, I'm probably not going to change anyone's mind. I'm not going to move the needle of civilization in a positive direction by having such videos. But I will attract a lot of unhappy people being uncivil with each other, leaving toxic messages, I fear. My channel's not yet monetized. I have about 715 subscribers, and I need 1,000 before it can become monetized. So creating extremely controversial videos is more likely to lose me subscribers than to gain me subscribers. So at this point, I want to be very cautious in the topics that I look at. Maybe someday I'll be the Jordan Peterson of the United States and have a large following here, even if it does attract certain negative elements, but probably not at this point. But again, thank you, Jason, for your comments. I do appreciate them, and I do appreciate everything that you've commented on in the past. I think I'll end now so this video doesn't get too long. As always, I would love to hear what you think. Please do leave comments in the comments section. I'd be honored if you click the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it takes just a second, and it does help me out in building a following and keeping me motivated to do these videos. And if you like particular videos, don't forget to hit the like button on those. Thanks again.